This is Ms. Preeti and I am going to teach you chapter 4, structure of the atom. Now students, wherever you are sitting, in your room, in the balcony, outside, I am in my classroom, I have a chalk in my hand, I have a pen, you have your books with you, you have a computer with you can see trees, buildings, each and everything. You see yourself in the mirror, you see yourself like this. Each and everything around you are made of atoms, and that is why atoms are of so much importance. Now, if you have to define atoms, what are atoms, students? Atoms are the smallest of the smallest known particles. Okay, so atoms are the smallest of the smallest known particles. It is that small, students, that you cannot even see it with your naked eyes. If I make a dot here small, I can see this dot. Okay, I can see it with my naked eyes. You cannot see it, of course. But then the atoms are even smaller than this. That means it is not visible through your naked eyes. Okay, students, and it cannot be divided further. You cannot cut that small atom and see what is inside. Okay, students, so it is very small. Okay, smallest of the smallest known particle. Okay, and everything is made up of atom. Now, students, when this atom was discovered, okay, it created a lot of curiosity among the scientists. A lot of scientists were curious to know what is this atom made of? What is inside this atom? Okay. There is something called atom, right? There is something. So what is that something made of? Okay, all that curiosity led to a lot of experiments, number of experiments. Okay, and these scientists were able to, with these experiments they were able to know the structure of the atom, what is inside the atom, what is an atom made of. Okay, students, so after a lot of experiments, after a lot of hard work, we always say that hard work pays off. So for them also it was the same. They were able to discover and know what is an atom made of. Okay, now let us also see what is an atom made of. So students, there were a lot of scientists who came forward, did a lot of experiments. Okay, now I will draw three atoms, students, here, so that you can understand it well. If I draw a very small atom, obviously it won't be visible to you. So suppose if this is an atom, after a lot of experiments, students, scientists were able to discover that in that atom there is something inside. Okay, there are some particles inside. Now, what are those particles? Okay, those particles were given a name called subatomic particles. Subatomic particles. Okay, students. Now, these subatomic particles were of three types. Now, I will discuss it later. Okay, how it was discovered, through what kind of experiment it was discovered. But let us see what are those subatomic particles. So, number one, the subatomic particle which were discovered were electron, proton and neutron. Now students, these discoveries were of, it was a huge success. Okay, and these scientists who carried out these experiments also, they were the world renowned scientists. They also got a lot of prizes, including Nobel Prize, okay, for their discovery, for their hard work. Okay, now when we write electron, proton, neutron, it is easier for us to remember electron, proton and neutron. But when we talk about its discovery, proton was discovered first, students. Proton was discovered in 1886. And then these students, proton was discovered first, followed by electron and then neutron. Now, who discovered what? Let us see that also. It's very important. Proton was discovered by E. Goldstein. Please check your book, it is written there also. E. Goldstein. Electron was discovered by J.J. Thomson. And the neutron was discovered by John Cadbury, or you can also write J. Cadbury. John Cadbury is better. Okay students, so electron, proton and neutron were discovered by J.J. Thomson. E. Goldstein discovered proton and John Cadbury neutron. Okay, now first let's talk about electron. Electron, let's talk about the properties first. Okay, let us talk about the properties, what is electron, and then we will learn about the whole experiment, how it was discovered. Okay, because that is another long process. So electrons, students, let us talk about electrons first. Electrons are, first of all, it was discovered by J.J. Thomson. Okay, discovered by J.J. Thomson. Okay, next, electron. It is, you write electron as E minus to the power minus. Why do we write this? This means negative. That means electrons are negatively charged particles. Okay, students, negatively charged particles. Now, talking about electrons, how it is present in the atom. Okay, now if you check in your book also how it is written is, now suppose if you eat watermelon or you eat cakes, right? Now if you see a watermelon, it is spherical in shape, spherical, right? Now suppose, imagine that watermelon is the atom and those black seeds embedded in it are the electrons. Or when you eat cupcakes, you see those chocolate cookies embedded in it, right? So this is how electrons are embedded in an atom. Okay students, so this is how it is present in an atom. Talking about the mass of an electron, it is negligible. It is very less. It is 9, I'll write it properly here. Mass of an electron, okay students, of an electron is 9 into 10 to the power minus 31 gram. It is very negligible, very light. Okay students, so these are some properties of electrons which you can just remember. Okay, negatively charged, it was discovered by J.J. Thomson. It is embedded, okay, in the atom. It is negatively charged, and of course the mass is 9 into 10 to the power minus 31 J. Okay, now let's talk about protons. Protons, now students, when it was, when the experiment was done, under certain circumstances it was found that these are positively charged particles. Okay students, so let's talk about protons. Protons are positively charged particles. Positively charged particles. You know who discovered it? Right? Who discovered it? E. Goldstein. Alright. And also you remember the year 1886. So these are positively charged particles. And also it was discovered through some mathematical calculations that protons are approximately 2000 times heavier, okay, than electrons. Okay students, so they are heavier, 2000 times heavier than electrons. We know that the mass of electron is very small. It is negligible. Okay, so under some mathematical calculations it was found. We will talk about the mathematical calculation also. But then it was discovered that 2000 times heavier. Proton is 2000 times heavier than electron. Okay. Now what is the mass of electron? Sorry, mass of proton. We are talking about electrons. Okay. So we'll talk about mass of protons. So mass of proton is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 29. Now student, it's better if you remember these numbers. It will be important for you to do some mathematical calculations later on. Okay, so just remember the mass of electron is 9 into 10 to the power minus 31 grams, and the mass of proton is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 29 grams. Okay, now talking about neutron. Now students, see, one is positive, another one is negative. What about the third one? Neutron will be no charge. Okay students. So neutron is something which has no charge. Okay, I'll write it down. Neutron, no charge. But students, do you know it doesn't have any charge though, but its weight is approximately equal to proton. Approximately equal to, okay. So it is around 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 24. Okay students, so this is the mass of neutron. Now I told you that under some mathematical calculations it was found that proton is 2000 times heavier than electron. The mass of proton is 2000 times heavier than the mass of electron. Now what was that mathematical calculation, students? Let us find it out. Okay. Now if you calculate the ratio, okay, ratio of the mass of proton to the mass of electron, you will get the approx, the ratio of the weight, the difference between the weight. So it is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 29, and electron is 9 into 10 to the power minus 31. After calculating, okay students, after calculating, they found that this is the approx weight coming out, which is nearly 2000. Okay students, so this is how it was said that the protons are 2000 times heavier than electrons. Okay, now we talk about the charges. Charges, what are the charges, the positive and the negative charge. Do you know what are the unit of charge called? Coulomb, right? So let's talk about the charge. The charge are positive and negative, you know that. The values of the charge of electron and proton is same. It is just that the difference is that one is positive, another one is negative. Okay, now we talk about the charge. Charge of an electron. Okay, I mean the charge present on the electron. Okay, let me write like this. So we will write the charge on electron. Okay, so the charge present on electron. Now it is negative, so it will be minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 90. Coulomb. Remember, the units are very important. Charge present on proton, since it is positive, so it will be plus 1.6. If you don't write plus, it's okay. Remember the difference is just this. Okay students. And what about neutron, Vichara? Neutron is negative charge. Okay, negative. That means negative as in it has no charge. If I say negative, that means Unit of charge is coulomb. So remember, the charge present on these subatomic particles are same but with different signs. One is positive, another one is negative, and the third one has nothing. It has no charge. Okay, that means it is 0.